Hi, I'm Daniel and this is Liz, and we've just got back from 1 week at the Barcelo Active Resort in Lanzarote, haven't we, Liz? We might not look like we've got a good tan, but we did go, didn't we? We thought we'd put together a quick video just talking about our feedback, our thoughts and observations from staying at the Barcelo Active Resort for a week. We weren't paid to be there or anything. It wasn't like an influencer trip. We paid to go and stay like a normal person. So we're unbiased and we're going to share our thoughts with you, because perhaps you're planning a trip to Lanzarote and you're thinking about, where do I stay? Club La Santa, Sands Beach, Barcelo Active, or where else if you're trying to plan some sort of active holiday, which we were, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you a brief overview, and then we're going to talk about like accommodation and general setup, and then we'll go on to like some swim, bike, run specific stuff. Does that sound all right?
Sounds good.
Okay, so the standard stuff. So we went for 1 week. We flew Sunday to Sunday from East Midlands Airport. We took our own bikes with us. We stayed all inclusive. We had the basic accommodation, which was a twin. It was a double room, wasn't it?
With a pool
view, which was a few pounds more. And it cost £2,800 in total, plus airport parking. Of that, this is a common question, the bikes cost us £185 in total to get there. So £60 each for bikes to go on the flight, and then £65 combined for the bikes to go on the transfer bus to the airport. So £185 to take our own bikes. I think that's fairly good value. I do like riding my own bike abroad rather than hiring one, less faff and so on. But yeah, that's the overview. I don't know how that compares cost-wise to La Santa and other places. When we booked it, it was only a few weeks before we went. There wasn't a great deal of availability, so it was just a case of what was there. And it was October half-term week, so it was probably quite busy and expensive. So with Jet2, it's a package holiday, right? They do look after you from start to finish. So we landed, there's somebody there to meet you. They're telling you which bus to get on. The first problem we came across, Liz, was we went to get on the bus, didn't we? And my job was pushing bike boxes, your job was pulling suitcases. And the challenge was getting the bike boxes onto the bus. Now, bearing in mind Jet2 do charge you £65 in total to put these bike boxes on the bus. The driver wasn't the most friendly, was he? And I don't know if he's Jet2 employee or not, and I've had this before with another provider actually, but it was a bit awkward really, wasn't it?
It was. He was quite stroppy, sort of truntering away at us because we were there with these two bike boxes. He then stormed off and obviously had gone to ask somebody else if we were allowed to put the bike boxes on the bus. All was resolved though in the end, and we did do it, but he didn't help at all, whereas normally the drivers do help you putting the luggage on, so they do the cases. I've
asked Jet2 what the actual process is, because you feel like you're asking somebody to do something that that they shouldn't do. You feel awkward. There's people queuing up behind you. They want to get on the bus, and they're like, you know, these fools trying to get these bike boxes on. We've actually paid extra money for these boxes to go on the bus. It's not like you're asking them to do you a favour or anything, is it?
No.
I was perfectly happy to help him put them on. They're quite big, heavy boxes, but I just couldn't really do it myself. You know, lifting it a foot off the ground and whatever else. I ended up doing it myself in the end, but it just felt it's a shame to start off on a negative footing, wasn't it? Because I was just like, I don't want to get stressed out about this. We're on holiday. I want to just put these on the bus, get on, and get checked in. Like that was it, wasn't it? So
yeah, it just made us feel a bit awkward. That was all, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but on the bus, ready?
Yeah, so onto the bus. Really smooth, really short journey. We were the first drop off, which was great.
It's a lottery, isn't it?
Yeah, because otherwise you could be sat on that bus for hours.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I was getting annoyed because I thought, we've paid £65 to put the bike box on the bus. I could have got a taxi for less than that. You know, if we didn't pay that extra, but it puts it on automatically, I'd prefer to just jump in a taxi. But, you know, first world problems.
So at the hotel, check-in was great. Check-in from 3 o'clock was their standard. Check-out from 12 noon, which I thought was brilliant.
It's really good actually, that, isn't it? Like we were flying in the afternoon on the way home, so to be able to stay in until 12 meant that you could do a bit of exercise in the morning or spend the morning packing bikes up like I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. What did you think to like the rooms?
Very clean. It was quite a large room as well, considering it was sort of the basic room that they had. We had, you know, a really big long room, and then the balconies were huge as well. Nice view of the pool. A few nice extra touches with, you know, the standard is obviously they leave you your shampoo and shower gel and that kind of thing, but there was toothbrushes, toothpaste, razors, pads for taking your makeup off, lots of towels. It was all spotlessly clean, which was lovely.
You'd taken like the Aldi middle aisle of the toiletries with you anyway, so I don't think you needed that. But
no, I didn't need it, but for anybody that had forgot anything, it was already there.
Fair enough, yeah. And what about the actual like resort itself?
Again, that was spotless. And it was so lovely to see that every day there was gardeners, they were out making sure everywhere was sort of clean, tidy, any dropped leaves were collected up. While I was by the poolside one day on a sun lounger, there was a man going round with some painting all the walls that were near the poolside, so making sure that they were sort of crisp white and looking smart again. The cleaners were always very busy and very helpful. We always choose to not have room service every day. We put the do not disturb thing on the door, but one day when there was a cleaner next door, she did say to us when we were leaving, is there anything that you would like? We'd said, we could do some more toilet roll, and then when we came back there was some toilet rolls hung in a bag on the door for us. So just little touches like that it was really nice.
Yeah, really nice. I think it's because I live quite messy with electronics and bike stuff everywhere, so it's just less hassle to not have somebody coming in and cleaning. But yeah, fine. Okay, what about the actual layout of the thing itself? Because it was massive. I didn't think it was as big as it was, but actually there's 2 buildings on either side of a road. So you've got we were on one side, there's a whole other side. I don't know how many rooms there were exactly, but it's big, wasn't it? And several pools.
It's got to be thousands, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was a lot.
Yeah. And
there was 7 pools in total. I can't remember how many restaurants, but again, a good handful of restaurants. With us being all inclusive, we could eat at 2 of the restaurants already included in our price. But we could eat at the others if we wanted to pay extra.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't against that. I think I described the thing as a bit like a Centre Parks, because you're in the thing, in the sort of setup, but some things are included and some aren't. And we were there for a holiday, but for, we're doing some exercise as well. And when you've gone out and ridden your bike for 2 or 3 hours and you come back, you perhaps don't want to sit in a restaurant and wait for lunch. You want to just be able to go and get exactly what you want. Some days you want rice, some days you want lots of egg or whatever, depending on what you're trying to eat. And I think the buffet stuff works really well. And sometimes some people say, oh, it's just buffet food, and insinuate that it's rubbish. It was actually very good, wasn't it, really? You could tell everything was replaced very frequently. Yeah. Because there was a lot of people there, sometimes it was busy, but I think that just meant, again, the food was that bit fresher. We never struggled to get a table in either of the places we went in. And I think it was just exactly what we needed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of, it's not just like chips and pizza, there's loads of different veg, they have different themed nights, and it was really easy to have a lot of healthy food, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, so every night was a different theme. Every lunch was covered with hot food, salads, hams, cheeses, you name it. They literally covered everything at all meals. And same with breakfast. There was hot food, there was pastries, there was cereals, there was yogurts, there was fruit. There was a huge variety in both the all-you-can-eat restaurants every single day. And it made it nice having the theme nights, because then the evenings had, it was always something different.
Like a Sunday dinner one day, didn't you? And like an Indian the other day.
Yeah, that's
all the classic Spanish meals,
But then they also had simpler stuff as well if you didn't want all those different things. So that was brilliant.
Yeah. I think I definitely saw those with children just benefiting from that, because the kids can get exactly what they want, and especially like drinks by the poolside and ice cream and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's all included and all inclusive, so it's easy to just go and get what you want. And I think I always think it works out cheaper to go all inclusive, especially if you've got children. But I just think it's less faff. Who wants to take money down to the poolside or even just keep paying for things? Like, it's just aggro, isn't it? You can just go and get, send kids to go and get you a beer or whatever. So,
yeah, beer on tap.
Yeah. My only general comments about the whole setup is that this is supposed to be, or it's labelled, an active resort. There are loads of families there. Some families who you can tell perhaps the parents are active and do a bit of running or cycling. And I'm not saying you need to be active to come and do it, because they had a gym on site and stuff, people were using that. But there was clearly some people there just on holiday. Absolutely fine. And in Spain, like, smoking in public places isn't illegal, is it?
Yeah.
It was irking me a little bit that people were allowed to smoke like near the pool and in the bar near the pool. So I sat in there one day just editing videos next to the bar, and there's people smoking, and I think, well, I'm outside, I know, but I can smell it. And I just think, you're in an active resort. It's labelled as this health and wellness and wellbeing place, and you've not banned smoking. I'm not saying people can't smoke, but like, it just felt a little bit like, oh, I'm in a normal holiday resort here, rather than like a, I don't know, training camp or whatever. But I don't know if the solution to that is to ban smoking on the site, but because they probably lose some customers. But that's just one of my observations. Another point about the hotel was just the size of it. Because it's so big, and because we were going in and out cycling, we didn't really want to ride through the resort and sort of mow some kids down on the way in and out. So you're walking across the resort. It is big. It's a 2, 3, 4 minute walk just to get to the gate. That's not very far, and we're saying we're on an active break, so we shouldn't be moaning about it. But it just makes you think, when I've come from places where you're either in an Airbnb flat and you're straight out the door, or in a hotel you're straight out the door, it just feels different. Like one day you forgot your running watch, and you're like, I've got to go back and get my running watch.
It was longer than a 2 minute walk. It was about a good 5 minute walk, if not longer, from where because we were at the furthest point away to get to the entrance. It was a good 5 minute walk.
But Liz was very grateful because you got a booklet with a map in it.
No, so another thing to mention, you do get this book upon arrival. If anybody recognises the
can you name those triathletes? Let us know in the comment section down below. I could name 3 out of 4.
This was great though, because it covers literally everything. It covers a whole resort map, all about the restaurants, all about the activities that we're on. There was a programme in here as well, so that you knew what was on when. It covers evening entertainment. So we did keep, it was like the Bible, wasn't it? We did keep looking back in this. It was very useful to have.
And for those in the 21st century, there is an app which has all that information in there as well.
Yeah, I like looking at this though.
On to the swim, bike, run related things then. So a big feature of this hotel is it has an Olympic-sized swimming pool, so a 50-metre long pool. I couldn't work out if it was a freshwater pool or a saltwater pool. The water tasted heavily treated. I couldn't really be sure. It definitely didn't taste super salty. Pardon?
I said.
Oh no, sorry, I wasn't drinking it, but you can taste it. And it was really good. It was heated. There were, however, because it was half term, there were quite a few school trips there. You could tell there were training camps there, so the lanes were quite busy, first thing in the morning and first thing at night, last thing at night. However, you can talk to reception, find out when they're busy and when they're not. Now, interestingly, there is a charge for guests to use the pool, and it's €3.50 a time, or you can buy 10 passes for 30 euros. Now, we were only there for a week. I wasn't going to swim more than 10 times, so it wasn't really worth buying a pass. But I did swim 7 times, so that's 23, about 25, 26 euros, something like that. Not a small amount of money. I do understand why there's a fee if it costs so much more to run and you're using that and not other guests. And I do think it's a bit of a deterrent, isn't it, from families getting in it if they're just going to be, recreationally floating around and splashing around versus those who are actually swimming lengths.
Yeah, but I think that's probably why they do have the charge, because it keeps that pool for its purpose then. Yeah. Whereas if it didn't have a charge, like you say, everybody would be going in it.
But if that was purely the case, I feel like it should be less than €3.50 a time. It should be €1, or you need to buy a pass for €5, enough to discourage people not using it for the intended purpose, but not enough for somebody like me to moan that it costs you 25 quid to swim for the week. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're spending money on a holiday, it's not a huge proportion, but it is another sort of amount of money, isn't it?
Yeah.
The opening hours of the pool was 7 a.m. until 8 p.m, but there were times within that where it was too busy to swim in, all the lanes were used up. Again, I'll just check the app, speak to people on reception, and I'm sure there's a time during that day when it is convenient for you. I think, based on what people are telling us, it was very busy that week. It's not normally that busy the week we experienced it. So if I'm thinking it's okay, it's probably going to be a lot better in other weeks.
And you never had any issues? You always swam when you wanted to swim?
Yeah, sometimes I waited half an hour for a group to get out if the lifeguard said, in 20 minutes these will be out, something like that, but I was never turned away. No. But you sort of get into the routine of it after a few days, don't you? You know when it's going to be busy and when it's not. They do let non-guests swim in the pool as well for €10 a time, so you do occasionally get...
7.
Oh, was it €7? Yeah. Oh, right, so it's not actually much more expensive than not staying there. Than staying there, is it? So there's an option. If you stay somewhere locally, you can book into the pool to use that. Yeah, that's an idea. Cycling, that's the main reason we were there for, wasn't it? And we took gravel bikes, so we didn't really do a huge amount of road riding. But Liz, what do you reckon to the cycling?
I'll be honest, I was a bit dubious before we went, going on the track record of your trip that you had a couple of weeks prior to us going, and I did keep saying to you, can we take road bikes? Don't want to take my gravel bike. But you were like, no, I think you really like the gravel. And actually, I'm so glad that we did take gravel bikes, because yes, the road cycling is great too, but it was like being in a different world out on some of the gravel tracks over there, and there was so much more exploring that we could have done that we just did not have time to do. The only way I can describe it really is a bit if you're in the Wild West, you were literally out in the middle of nowhere. There's volcano rocks everywhere, it's brown everywhere, you can just see mountains, the skies are blue. It was incredible. It was rocky, it was sandy, it was pretty crazy at times, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Some of it was too difficult for me to cycle on. There was a couple of really steep inclines which I did walk up, and the ground at times for me was too rocky and too sandy. One, just my confidence, and two, I probably didn't really have the correct tyres for that. But it was great, and also I loved that on the road there were so many roads that were quiet roads that were kind of made for cyclists, so cars could go on these roads as well, but it was encouraged that it was for cyclists. There was like bikes painted on the road, big signs up about cyclists as well being on the road, so that was really good because you felt like you were welcomed. Like in England you don't feel like you're welcome to ride on the roads, whereas over there you really did feel like, you know, there was a place for you. So that was amazing, just going on roads for a bit and then off on some gravel tracks. It was quite hilly, wasn't it? So hilly, you know, then you're back on roads again. It was great to explore the island, and I think there was just so many tracks what you can see which we didn't even get time to go and explore.
Yeah, I think as well, we went gravel because the wind is often quite strong in Lanzarote, and I think that affects you more on the road. Your average speed's higher, you're more exposed. Although we did have some windy days on the bike and the gravel, because you're going slower, I think it affects you less, and there's less like descending fast.
I think we actually felt lucky with the wind because people, to me, always make out Lanzarote is really windy all the time. But I think we only had a couple of days, to me, where it was actually windy. The rest of the time it was seemed fine, didn't it?
There were good little networks in between the coastal towns as well as the cycling only, or cycling and pedestrian paths. You could really get between the towns without having to go on a road at all, which is brilliant. If you were thinking of doing a more like training focused trip, I don't know if I've done enough of that to actually speak about it. Obviously I've seen some road sections and some off-road sections. If you want to train, you'd have to go further than we did. We were doing sort of 20-25 mile loops, weren't we? But I think the wind would be a negative once you get further out to the island, and if it is a windier day it's going to be more difficult to train, but I don't think it's prohibitive. I think you can plan it based on the wind direction is quite predictable, and you just obviously plan your ride around that. So I wouldn't be put off by riding Lanzarote, but it's definitely more challenging than a Calpe or Mallorca, that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely glad we went on the gravel bikes, because we could also go on the road if we wanted to as well.
Yeah, it was very different, wasn't it?
Yeah. Running wise, we both went for a few runs whilst we were out there, didn't we? And I think we both went a similar route. We stayed in Arrecife, didn't we? No, we were a bit above Arrecife. We were Costa Teguise. Anyway, the seafront, we basically ran up and down there on the pedestrian paths, didn't we?
Yeah.
Brilliant, really good, miles and miles. My only comment is that the public toilets are aren't open early in the morning. So, you know, if you have a digestive challenge like I do when running, that's something to think about. But how did you find the running out there?
Really nice to be able to run along the seafront, as it was pretty flat compared to what we're used to. You felt safe as well, like going on runs on my own, because there was always so many people around, so many other people running, walking out there, regardless of what time of day you went. So that was nice, because I actually felt confident enough to go out and do my own runs and things without having you to go with me. The only thing I'll kind of touch on the area while we're talking about this bit is further into Costa Teguise, don't really know how to say it, but yeah, we'll go with that. Further into Costa Teguise, there was funny smells in places, and I know when you read the reviews of the hotel, a lot of the reviews do mention these smells. So there was no smells near our hotel whatsoever. I'm talking, you'd gone a mile and a half before you could smell these smells, but it was like sewers, and it was only sort of little patches of it. And it was every time we ran out there as well that you could smell it. So that is one thing I will comment as a bit of a negative for the area. Was
it near where I'd ran, just after I'd run there?
No, it wasn't. So yeah, I will just comment on that, because I do know that a lot of the reviews for the hotel does mention that for people that have gone into Costa Teguise. And also, both like Arrecife or Costa Teguise were a good 1.5 to 2 miles away from where our hotel was. So if you just wanted to walk out but you wanted to go to shops, the bus routes were great. There was buses right outside our hotel. The hotels could ring taxis and have them there sort of within minutes for you as well as another option, or you could do the walks to those places, but it is a bit far if you've not if you are walking and want to just go and nip to look around the shops and things, the hotel is a little bit isolated for that. But it wasn't an issue to us because that really wasn't the purpose of our holiday, and we saw those places when we were out on our bikes. That was our way of exploring those places.
It's not like a Mallorca when you're in Palencia and you're walking out down the row of restaurants on the doorstep. You've got to make a specific journey, haven't you?
Yes, but because we were all inclusive, we didn't need to do that. You know, we had everything we needed. There was a shop at the hotel, there was bars, there was restaurants, evening entertainment. There was everything that we needed within the resort on both sides of the road. But if people did want to go out and explore the local areas, you are a couple of miles either side of the nearest areas.
Yeah. I think the only other thing I wanted to add about the running was that if you're looking to run on a track or do some specific intervals, I think you could do it on the coastal roads. They're not pan flat, so you'd have to just make do. But if you're looking for a track, like that's when you need to look at something like a La Santa, isn't it, really? But for what we were going for, we didn't need to do that. But I think if you're taking like a real serious training camp where you want to do that sort of thing, you don't have that. I don't know whether there's anything locally that you can go to, perhaps, but it just depends how you're prioritising your week and what you want to do, really. We could have actually ran some of our gravel routes or some way into our gravel routes.
Yeah, we see people out running on those routes as well. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about our experience at the Barcelo Active Resort Lanzarote, Liz? You're going to consult your list and make sure you're not missing anything?
Consult my list. No, I think we've covered everything.
Would you go back to Lanzarote for one, or would you go back to Barcelo Active for two?
Absolutely yes to both.
Okay, so would I think.
Yeah.
Awesome. But I would like to try other places. I'm not getting into the habit of going to the same place every time, but yeah, absolutely. Cool. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts down below. If you've been to Barcelo Active Lanzarote, if you've got anything else constructive you want to put in there so that when people watch this video, they can get some more value from the comment section, that'd be great. Or if there's anywhere else you think we should try.
Or if you've got any further questions about the resort that we've not covered, then please fire away.
Yeah, Liz will answer all those questions.
I forgot what we've said so far.
All right. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, D-Dubs.
Enjoy your holiday if you're going.
See ya.
See ya.